Welcome to Hunter Fuel, a supernatural rewatch podcast for adults who enjoy their show with a chaser. I'm Liz.
And I'm Lynn.
Thanks so much for joining us for season 2, episode 12, Nightshifter. We model responsible drunkenness here. All participants are way over 21. No one is pregnant. No one will be driving, handling weapons, operating heavy machinery, or holding up banks. If you're playing along with us, those are the rules. If you decide not to follow them and you do something stupid, don't blame us. Lynn, what are you drinking this evening?
I just went real simple glass of red wine.
You have a glass of red wine. The featured cocktail for this episode is called a bank robber. It is too, seemed appropriate. Uh, although Ronald is very insistent it is not a robbery, our cocktail is a bank robber. It is 2 ounces of bourbon and 1/2 ounce each. Let me try that again. 1/2 ounce each of vermouth and Campari. Shake that with ice, drain, and serve that without ice. So you're going to serve that up. Before we get started, if you are a Kansas City Chiefs fan, there was a big game yesterday, and it is a very sad day for you. However, if you are an Eagles fan,
Man, yay!
it is a wonderful day to be an Eagles fan, and here in the Philadelphia area, we are very excited. So, which my cats will tell you because they were immediately under the couch as soon as the fireworks started to go off. But so we're a little sleepy here at Hunter Fuel.
Just a little. Oh my God. That and there's a reason I'm just drinking a little bit of red wine tonight. Yeah, I may have had a few
No,
last night.
no, no, not at all.
Oh God.
Well, yeah, it's yeah, we're gonna see how this goes.
Yeah. And I wasn't driving
Oh no, no.
just for the sake of the
We model responsible drunkenness here.
yeah.
We're not we're just going to assume everybody has designated drivers.
Yeah.
So with that, producer Mark, can you bring up our Stupornatural game cards, please? Lynn, what do you think?
Mine sucks.
Well,
you had, that is my initial thought is mine sucks.
well, and it's not a terribly boozy episode. So, unless like it would take a miracle, like it would have to be sort of a perfect storm for anybody to get 5 in a row on this one. And I don't think we're gonna be seeing any miracles today. We got our we got our big miracle yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah, and I guess I was I had to laugh. I made the commitment saying that okay, if the Eagles did it, I'd go buy the shirt. Yeah, went to the store to go buy the shirt
oh, they're gone.
and they like there was nothing.
No,
I ended up ordering it online. Like
yeah.
nothing.
No, no. I started looking before online before it was officially announced, and they were flying off the virtual shelves. So,
I was like, "Really?"
yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is big. This is big. So, all right. With that, we promise we're not going to talk about the game the
I
entire
know,
episode.
believe me.
No. But with that, as always, the first one is on the house. Oh, cheers.
Years.
Hmm. I think that tastes the most like cough syrup.
Okay,
Of
never mind, because that actually sounded like it was going to be really good.
If you really like cough syrup,
No,
this is the
no,
cocktail for you.
no, I don't. It just well, actually, well, I don't know how Campari. I don't know. I can't. I'm not sure.
Campari is, bittersweet.
That would explain it then.
Yeah. Now I will say, over the holidays, Mark and I picked up a bottle of, um, um, persimmon liqueur, which is a bittersweet. That's what I was making the old fashions with on New Year's Eve, and you drank
Oh,
a bucket of those.
yes, yes, I did. Those were amazingly good.
So, you know what? Since you mentioned that, I might try this. I might try this with that instead of
Because
the
I mean, you
Campari.
know me, anything that has the word bourbon in it, which is actually
Yeah.
last night I was drinking not together. Let me preface that, not in the same glass, but red wine and bourbon.
Yeah. Well, no, you and I are both bourbon drinkers, so
Yeah.
any bourbon cocktail has a halfway decent chance. This one does not meet
Yeah.
minimum requirements. Uh, so with that, if you're going to play along with us, there is a link to generate a card of your own in the
Yeah.
link tree.
Absolutely.
Let's get this show on the road. All
Yay.
right, so we're hitting play. We start with the then, and it focuses really heavily on the season one episode Skin. So we have the shapeshifter taking on Dean Winchester's appearance and how he's wanted by the police. So we get a good
Your
look
your
at,
your favorite scene.
oh yeah, that lot to love there. There's a lot to love, and then there's not a lot to love. But what I think is really cool about this is we get, not only do we get the lore on the shifters, it reminds us that Dean is wanted for murder. We also have clips from the usual suspects, including that shot of Dean getting caught by the police while he's kneeling over a dead body. And then it's a really great device. And you know what? I'm gonna back this up a smidge here because I was chatting. But we're going back to um the usual suspects where Dean gets arrested. We see Detective Ballard talking to Sam, and then mid murd, they cut to a live broadcast of a bank robbery in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I have to think, like, okay, we're watching it at this point on disc or on streaming. But I got to think, like, if you were watching this live, this had to be like, what the fuck? Where is my show? And like, what is happening? And then all of a sudden we get this close up, and one of the hostages is coming out of the bank. The whole don't shoot. And we hear Dean's voice, don't even think about it. And then the camera just zooms in on Dean Winchester and his face of like, oh crap. Like
Yeah.
this is not good. And you're like, what kind of trouble have the boys gotten themselves into this time?
And knowing that he is wanted, how the fuck is he getting himself out of that one?
How's he getting out of this?
And
Um,
right off the bat, he is checking somebody out.
Oh yeah, we do have Gene checks out or hits on a woman, which we'll get to in a second. I think this is fun. So we get the title card. We go back a day. So this is the day before. And man, he's schmoozing this chick. It's pretty cute. Um so while he's talking to the pretty lady at the jewelry store, Sam is actually working. Uh and he's done something a little different with his hair, trying to look
Yeah.
a little more FBI-ish, and he's failing. But what the manager is saying is that the a long time employee, someone who was, very dedicated. She always said they were her family. Robbed this jewelry store. She shot the guard in the face. She then went home and electrocuted herself in the bathtub, but she stole and they don't tell us exactly how much,
Yeah.
but diamonds and jewelry, and I mean, she it was quite a heist. Why would she not spend that?
Yeah.
Um, Dean, cut back to Dean flirting with the young lady, Franny, and he's saying, "Oh, thanks, that's all I need." She's like, "Really? Really? If you wanted to interview me somewhere in private." And he's like, "Yeah, you're a true patriot." Yeah, that he's and then you see him like, "Can I get away with this?" But then the second he gets over to Sam, he's flashing the phone number. So, so go ahead.
But is it bad that my one thought, keep in mind the comment here, let me just pause this for a second. Remember the one comment we used to make in season one is that for a character that hits on as many people as he does, Jensen Ackles needs to learn how to be not so wonderful of a coworker and actually stay in character a little bit better and let his eyes wander, because it's really, because when you're hitting on somebody, you're not going to keep eye contact. And at least in that scene, he lets his eyes wander. I was like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. I'm like, for the love
He's
of God.
his eyes are wandering a bit, and he also makes this kind of lewd, I'm not gonna do it because 'cause I'll smudge my lipstick, but, he makes this kind of lewd gesture where he, like, wipes his mouth with his hand in kind of a suggestive way. So, but his co-star in that scene is fully clothed, so, and not in the camera, so we don't even know if she's standing there at the time they filmed that. So it's, eh, as you said, Jensen is a very considerate coworker by all accounts. While you have it paused, why don't we go
Mhm.
ahead and see if either one of us
Yes,
has Dean.
I have Dean checks out or hits on a woman.
Okay, that is good for you. Let me look here. I am not seeing it.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope, none for me.
Ah, well, are you going to join me, or can you not deal with the cough syrup?
Well, got a little cough here. Let's see. Let's see. Here we go.
It's
Mm,
hysterical.
mm. Now I feel better.
Oh God, this could be a long episode. I'm just giggling already, and I've had 2 sips. Wow, this this could be a fun night.
Okay. So we're hitting play. Sam and Dean have gone to the home of Ronald Resnick, and they're there because there was a bank robbery that was a very similar MO to the jewelry store heist.
Yep.
And Ronald Resnick was the security guard on duty. So they've come to talk to him. They they knock on the door and this light comes on that is just like blindingly intense. We get we get 75% of a son of a bitch again.
I know. I
So,
was like, come on.
ugh, again. But here comes Ronald Resnick. We're going to talk about him in a second. The gentleman, I'm going to pause it right here
Okay.
on these IDs that
Ray showed
they
us.
hang on. I want to get these IDs that they plunk up on the door here. So they're holding their IDs. I don't know if you can read them, but Sam's identifies him as Agent Han Solo, and Dean's is Special Agent Jack Ryan. So, and now I'm hitting play, and Ronald Resnick very intently studies them and says, "Oh, yeah, yeah, this looks legit. Come on in." So so we have fake IDs. We'll check for them shortly. Um, But, uh,
Clearly, he is not a Star Wars fan.
or a Tom Clancy fan.
Um,
So
I was
so he
blank. I knew the other character. I was blanking on the
That's
series.
alright, I gotcha.
You
So now the
always
amusing
do.
always got your back, just like you have mine. But so they go into Ronald's room here, and he has okay, it's a wall oh crazy, but let's be honest, the boys' monster boards look like
Look,
this.
I was like, it's not so crazy. It's
No,
crazy, but not crazy.
it's crazy if there's no such thing as monsters.
Hmm.
So this is Chris Gautier, and he really sadly passed away last year. He was in Watchmen, A Series of Unfortunate Events, Eureka, and Once Upon a Time. And I think he does a wonderful job with this role. He comes up with the bank robber, or sorry, the jewelry store heist. So, like, he's not a hunter. He's doing everything a hunter does. He's got some of the details wrong because he doesn't know that monsters are real. So we've got a Doctor Who reference here. He's talking about a man droid. He's got a magazine with a Cyberman on the front, which is a classic vintage Doctor Who villain. He made copies of the security videos. Here's his friend Juan, who was accused of robbing the bank. And there he is on the security camera. And we can see Sam react to this right away,
Yeah.
that we've got this eye flare that we saw back in.
Yeah. And they're
in
both like, oh shit, how do we
yep.
play this off?
Yeah. Yeah. And I just think it's great that he knows he's not crazy. Everybody's telling him he's crazy, but he knows, I saw what I saw, and I am not going to let you gaslight me. He's like, I know my friend, that is not him. We've got this great line from him: if the law won't hunt this thing down, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
um but we've got this cute laser eyes. so so he doesn't know what it is, but he knows
No.
it's something.
Oh
He's
yeah.
also figured out where it is. Again, he
Mhm.
doesn't know why it's there. He doesn't have the brothers' lore that tells them
No.
that shifters like kind of, dank sewery places. The exchange here, it's nonverbal, but the exchange here between the brothers, and oh my goodness, Chris Gautier is doing a fantastic job. His performance is amazing. Where he's like, yeah, you're gonna tell me the truth. And Dean is like, yeah, this guy deserves it. This guy, he worked hard. He deserves to know the truth here. And Sam is like, there's no such thing.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
camera
I
flare.
see.
You're
I,
crazy.
I think Sam's a bit of a dick here in
Sam's
my
being
opinion.
a dick here. You're not wrong. Now we're going to find out later why. But Sam believes he's doing what's right for Ronald. We've got a quirky motel room here. We'll come back to that. Dean carries it just like last time. He carries around this fucking beer and he never drinks it. But we do have a quirky motel room we'll check for in just a moment. Um, and you know what? Actually, I'm going to pause it now. Um, because and we're about to get a son of a bitch. So let's just go ahead and look for those two at the same time.
Okay, I
Um,
actually do have a quirky motel room,
all
and I
right.
actually have a son of a bitch.
I have Dean eats or drinks, which does me no good at all.
Yeah, so do
Uh,
I.
I have a whole. Oh, I do have quirky motel room. That gets me something. Um, yeah, that's what I've got. I have one.
So, well,
And
cheers.
cheers. Gonna say I'm gonna have a small one because this is entirely alcohol. Mm. All right. So, um, quickly before we hit play, so this takes place in Wisconsin.
Mhm.
Production designer Jerry Wanick is from Wisconsin. He's a Wisconsin boy. So, according to the official companion volume for season 2, production designer Jerry Wanick built a lot of like personal elements into this quirky motel room. His father played in a polka band, so a lot of the decor on the walls are band posters from his dad's polka band. And the boys in the photos are Wanick's nephews.
Oh, okay.
So that is a very personal room for him. All right, hitting play,
All right.
and we're looking at
Mm.
the security video that
Yeah.
Sam appropriated from poor Ronald.
Yeah.
Dean, meanwhile, and here's where we get
Yeah.
Sam's explanation that it's better to lie to him and keep him alive. Like this is, Sam believes he's doing what's best. Um,
Yeah.
and Dean, meanwhile, is comparing the maps of town, just like Ronald was, to the
Yeah.
sewer system. And he comes to the conclusion, yeah, Ronald was right. He knows where this is, and he's looking at the sewer line, and he's like, there's one more bank on this sewer line. So we've got the jewelry store, we've
Yeah.
got the bank that was robbed, and now there's one more, the City
So
Bank of Milwaukee. Go ahead.
so they so they of course beeline it.
They're headed there because they think, there's a pretty decent chance this is where this guy is. We've got a security system pretext like we had back in give me a second. I just lost the name of the episode. It's Shadow.
Okay.
If you remember, they that's how they got into the young lady's apartment, was pretending to be
Yep.
security guards. It's not the same outfits, but it's the same pretext. The guard is like okie dokie, and Dean says, "I like
She
him. He
loves
says
that.
okie dokie."
Okie dokie.
So they're watching these videos, and of course they're watching the camera. Well, not videos. They're watching the cameras live. They're looking for the shifter based on the eye shine,
Yeah.
and they're kind of
I
systematically
love that.
going
Mr.
through
Okie doke looks like Mr.
Mr.
Okie Dokie's Okie dokie.
He's okie dokie.
That
Uh,
cracked me up.
that- yeah, as rough and tumble as Dean is, he's cute. He's got some cute turns of phrase. Meanwhile, he's using the cameras to check out the ladies who work in the bank, and Sam is like, Dean, we're supposed to be looking for eyes.
I
And he's like, I'm looking. And sure enough, it's the bank manager that they spot the eye shine on the bank manager. So they go after him. But before they can get out, here comes Ronald
Ugh.
because he's pieced it together just like the Winchesters have. And he knows this is going to be a target for the man droid. So he's locked the doors to the bank. This is a legitimate bank down in Vancouver, or I should say up in Vancouver, that allowed them to film there. So this is a real live bank. And I just think it's so cute. Ronald Resnick starts shooting the ceiling and he says, "This is not a robbery." So, um,
That
so
is now, total side note, did we
yeah.
remember to check for fake IDs?
I don't know, but we can check next time. We're gonna have a
Oh,
couple of things to look forward to soon. It,
yeah.
it,
No,
good call out. We'll go back and we'll check for that too. So so Ronald's got a key to the door because he's locked them all in. Here comes
yeah,
Sam and Dean, and and he's obviously very nervous,
yes.
which is not what you want holding the trigger on what appears to be an automatic weapon.
No.
Um, so he doesn't like Sam after Sam was an asshole, so he doesn't want to talk to Sam. And Dean's just like, I told you he wasn't going to talk.
He's like, fair
Um,
enough.
fair point. Fair point. So, um,
But
So
yeah,
Ron
this is kind of a turn of phrase because usually Sam's the one who can calm people down,
Yeah,
and this time it's Dean. But of
yeah,
course,
because
Dean still has a weapon on him, even though they
of
said they weren't
course.
going to bring guns.
And I
I'm
love
not
how
going to
he
walk in
says
here naked.
life with weaponry and not being armed is no bueno for him. So of course, poor Dean, he's got a silver knife in his boot to kill the shapeshifter, and Ronald dumps it down the document chute. So you can hear it like clattering down. It's hilarious. The sound effects in this episode are fantastic. But Dean respects what Ronald's done. And you're right,
Yeah,
there's a reversal here where Sam is usually the one with the puppy dog eyes, and he's being a hard ass here. And Dean is the one like, come here, let me let you in on this secret. You're not crazy. There really is something inside this bank. And so this is the first person who's not telling Ronald not to believe what he saw with his own eyes. So the two of them kind of form a relationship right away. Again, I think
yeah.
Chris Gautier is so fantastic in this role. He does a great job.
Hmm.
Um, so Dean proposes, look, you and me, you take me as a hostage. This is a shapeshifter. The more time you and I are dicking around, the more time this thing has to change, and we'll never catch it. So let's put everybody else in the vault. You take me, and then you and me, we're going to hunt this thing that killed your friend together. Which is something that doesn't come out in the episode. This is me kind of speculating if I'm Ronald, how am I going to feel that Ronald let that thing into the bank? Like, if I'm
Yeah,
Ronald, I'm going to feel a little responsible.
yeah.
So here we go. The cops have started to arrive. They're hustling the people they have into the vault. So this is a legitimate bank vault in Vancouver. And Sherry, bank teller Sherry, takes a liking to Dean. She's like, oh, he's so brave.
And of course, if you look at the look on Sam's face, it's like, are you freaking kidding with me?
Fuck kidding me, And he's like, oh,
Like,
like,
shut the fuck up.
I
If
know
I hear if I
that's
hear
a
that one
great
more time.
I know it's a great performance from Jared. I love it. So Dean has ditched his coveralls and he's back in the flannel. And oh
And
god,
there goes the
oh Ronald
oh,
slips in the shapeshifter goo and he's like rolling around in it. It's like, oh god.
oh
Why does
God.
Dean? Why? Why does Dean need to shine a light on it to see what it is? He knows what it is. He doesn't need a better light source. Just like, oh, and
Oh, then
Ronald,
you gotta touch it. It's like,
yeah.
come on, can't you? Oh God. Let me. Oh. Oh, oh
So,
God,
oh,
so disgusting.
it's
It's
so
like
gross.
it's like it's a shapeshifter, not a mandroid, you dipshit.
Oh, there are entire porn studios that don't go through as much KY jelly as they dumped on that that shapeshifter skin. It's terrible. But but Dean tells he's like, "Look, Ronald, if we're gonna be hunting together, you gotta stop calling him Android. Like it's not." And he starts to tell him about shapeshifters. Now, fans have pointed out that the things that he says about shapeshifters will later in the series be shown not to be true. I want to talk about this shot here. So this is with the helicopter. This is
Yeah.
all CGI. So this is a really long. I mean, this is like 12 seconds. It's a decent length CGI shot. And the only reason they had the money for it was because they had brought their special effects, their visual effects in house. And if you look really closely, the tagline for Supernatural was "Scary just got sexy," and that's on a billboard in the background if you're really eagle-eyed. Um, let's see. Okay, so we're gonna stop and check our cards in a moment here, but we've got a little flurry of stuff. So we see all the cops are showing up. There's a helicopter. I mean, this is a wide angle shot. This has attracted all of law enforcement's attention. The boys have nowhere to go. Like they are stuck in this bank. We've got Lieutenant Robards, and he's going to play another character many seasons from now. So if he looks a little familiar to you, it's because he's coming back. Um,
Oh my god,
and
he is having way too much fun with this. I love this.
you know,
I'm not nuts. I
I'm
was so
I
scared I was losing my marbles, but this
no,
is real.
yeah. I mean, like seriously, think about this. If you're Ronald, you
Yeah.
know, everyone's telling you you're crazy. At what point do you start to think like, "Oh my god, am I going nuts here?" So power gets cut to the bank and Dean is immediately like, "No, no, no, no. This is the cops. We're fucked. Like this is not good." And he starts saying to Ronald like, "You didn't if you're going to hold up a bank, man, at least do it right." you know?
Yeah.
Like you didn't secure the guard. He probably called the cops. Like, and now without the cameras, we have no way of knowing who the shapeshifter is. Like we are in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah.
Um,
They are basically flying blind at this
they
point.
are blind. They are flying blind. Cut to the folks in the vault. It's starting to get a little toasty in there. Sherry is still asking Sam about his heroic brother Dean. He's a real hero. And Sam's like, Jesus Christ Almighty, stop it, you're killing me. Here comes Dean. Oh my God, you've saved us, you've saved us. No, no, wait, what? What do you mean? What do you mean you're locking more people in here? so, uh, excuse
Now,
me.
is it just me, or does anyone, or did you wonder, like, okay, he's locked that vault.
Right.
I seriously doubt either he nor Ronald knows the combination.
Well, yeah, that is an interesting question that they don't tell us. So, yeah, somehow they're able to
Somehow
get in
they
and out
keep
of that
opening a
vault.
locked vault
They
that
do.
neither of them should know the combo to.
It was in the script. No, that is a fair point that did not occur to me until just now. But yeah, somehow they're getting in and out of this very secure bank vault without a combination.
Yeah.
So Dean has scrounged the bank. He has found silver letter openers. So this is the only weapon they have. And um Sam and Dean are arguing over what do they do now. And Dean is like, if we get arrested, the shifter gets away and we lose him. There's this great shot here where Sam really like Ronald is going to get us killed here. Like we've got to damn it. And we've got a dude, but they're shouting at Ronald, get out of the light. Like, you are surrounded by cops with guns. Like don't make a target out of yourself. But Dean
Yeah.
goes and he leaves Ronald and Sam together. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pause this here. So they have split up. Dean is looking
Yeah.
for the shifter. Sam is with Ronald. So we're looking for a dude, a seriously, a damn it, and we
Fake
never checked for the
IDs.
fake IDs. So let's
I
see
am a
here.
dude.
I have a dude, and
Uh,
that might be it. I have. Oh no,
yeah.
I have fake IDs.
Uh,
Um, Goodness. Yeah, no. No, that's what I've got. So I have 2.
I have a dude.
All right. All right.
that's,
Well,
that's
I got 4 total at this point.
I've got 1, 2. I have 5.
5.
So
Oh, you are beating me by 1. So
cheers.
mm, alright,
Yeah, that
go ahead.
could be the last one I remember I actually get, I think.
Well, we got about 20 minutes left in the episode, so let's find out. Okay, hitting play. Dean is I think this is a great shot here with Dean, and you can see the red and blue lights flashing. Um,
Mhm.
I think that's filmed really well with the silhouettes through the wall. We see Dean, like, ducking down under the windows, um, and so once you know where this episode goes, there's a lot of kind of foreshadowing of what's coming. Um, so Dean is continuing to hunt through the bank. Cut to the people in the vault. The one lady is praying the rosary. So, like there's the one gentleman, the security guard, starts to, like, everybody's sweating,
Yeah.
but he's really
Cle
starting to suffer.
Yes.
Um, Sam opens the vault with the combination he somehow knows, and he says, "I'm going to open the door to get you some fresh air, but nobody's leaving this vault." Phone rings. Uh,
I'm sorry, this cracks me up. This
oh my goodness.
absolutely cracks me up.
Uh, Gautier does such a good job. He's on the phone, and Sam's like, "Hang up the phone, you
Oh, you
dipshit! Like, come on. I'm a crime fighter." Like, um, like he's really saying, like, "Look, I told you if the law wouldn't do it, I'd hunt this thing down myself." And he's taken that very seriously. There's our
Mhm.
dude that we already checked for, but there's
Yeah.
there's another person in the vault who is starting to attract attention to the security guard having we don't know if it's a heart attack or what it is, but he's clearly starting to really struggle. Sam gets
Mhm.
on the phone with Lieutenant Robards and he says, "Look, we've got a person with a medical emergency. You need to send a paramedic." And then he just hangs up. Like, we're not
Yeah.
discussing this. Send a
Yeah.
paramedic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all we need to talk about. Cut back to Dean. He's been following some noises, which I'm not quite sure what's causing the noises, but he gets a coat rack. He follows the noises
Yeah.
to the ceiling. He's poking the ceiling tiles with the so he couldn't poke a body with the stick and playthings, but he's poking the ceiling with a coat rack now, and a body falls out of the ceiling. He dude's in his underpants. Dean rolls the body over, and the person's had their throat cut, and it's the guy we saw in the vault.
Right there.
Yep,
So so
helping
now
the
we
security
know
guard.
so now we know who the shifter is currently or was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. And he's eyeing up Sam and Dean. So they're like, "Okay, let's get the security guard out of here." And Sam's like, "No, no, Mr. Shifter, you stay in the vault where we know where you are."
Yeah.
Um, excuse me. So they start to take the security guard out. Dean's keeping his eyes on the shifter, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Okay, you I need to talk to, sir." Um, and the guy comes out, he immediately attacks Sam. Yeah, sorry, try that again. He attacks Dean. He runs past Sam. Here comes poor Ronald, and he stands right in front of this window. I think this is shot so beautifully by director Phil Segrisha.
Yeah.
There's no dialogue. You can see Sam shouting at him to get down. You see the laser sight come through the window, and poor Ronald, like, they just take him out, and he drops. Like, this is
Oh.
it's filmed so beautifully,
Oh,
and
look at the
the
look on Dean's
score is
face.
great.
It's like that
Yeah,
horrified look of fuck. I almost feel like he's
yeah.
saying like fuck, I failed to keep him safe.
Yes, I would agree with that. I've paused it on the black screen here. Yeah, I would agree with you that it's just um it like you can see it hit both of them. And I think it's interesting that Sam's plan for keeping Ronald safe is to keep him in the dark. Dean's plan for keeping Ronald safe is to read him in, to educate him. But the learning curve is just a little too steep for poor Ronald. Um, so while we have it paused, Lynn, I know you love your oopsies. Fans have pointed out that the because we've got the laser sight,
Yeah,
that the trajectory of the shot does not match the entrance or exit wounds that we see on poor Ronald. But poor Ronald has been shot. We've got now the door is left undefended, so people are starting to run out of the vault. Dean kind of works his way over to try to get to Ronald. There you can see they're both really distressed that
yeah,
Ronald has been shot. Sam goes after the shifter.
yeah,
Dean kind of works his way over. He's keeping his head down because we know these dudes are serious. Fans have pointed out if you pay really close attention, you can see that Ronald is still breathing here. And Dean says, "You know what? You did a real good job tracking this thing. You really did." So I'm not convinced that it's entirely an error. It could legitimately be a mistake. Like the intent could have been that Ronald is dead. The way I reconcile it in my head is that Dean sees he's not really like he knows Ronald isn't going to survive, but he can see that
yeah,
Ronald is still alive and he's trying to comfort him as he's dying, saying, like, dude, you did a good job here. You did great work. Um, like
yeah.
I think from Dean's perspective, this is a hunter's death for
Yes.
Ronald. Um, so I like that scene a lot. So we're back to kind of a similar idea that we had from Croatoan with it,
Yeah,
reminiscent of the horror movie The Thing, where okay, so now everybody's out of the vault again. The shifter is on the loose again. It could be anybody. We cut back to so now Dean is walking the sick guard out. So we're caught up with what we saw at the very beginning.
yeah.
Um, they've got clear shots at Dean. They don't take. We get another close up of the Gucci shifter skin. Yay!
Yay, because yeah,
Uh,
he slipped again. It's like holy crap, that thing.
again,
Ugh.
yeah, so I mean, we saw in Skin a very protracted, I mean, it's like a 30 or 60-second scene of Dean tearing his skin off.
Yeah,
And this shifter appears to be far faster. So that's something that's going to be, part of the lore of Supernatural that some shifters can change faster than others. Here comes the introduction
oh,
of Victor Henriksen. He is played by Charles Malik Whitfield. He was in Chicago Med, Empire, American Horror Story, The Guardian, and amusingly enough, a TV show called The Night Shift. So the feds have shown up. Lieutenant Robards is trying to say to him, like, something is not right here. We've got the hostages working with the hostage taker. I have to assume they know they've shot the hostage taker at this point, and still nobody's coming out of the bank. Like, this is something is really strange here.
yeah.
Um, it cut to Sam. He's continuing to look for the shifter because we don't know, it could be anybody. We
Yep.
don't know we don't know what they look like now. Dean is herding everybody back into the bank. Sherry is saying, I thought you were one of the good guys. There's this kind of nice little scene between Dean and Sherry where she doesn't think he's so hot anymore. Um, excuse me, they're interrupted. He's trying to comfort the people in the bank. Like, look, this is all going to be over soon. He he could
And
try to tell
all of a
them, they're not going
sudden,
to believe
she
him.
starts to act differently.
You're correct. She does start to act a little differently. Phone rings, and it's Lieutenant Robart. Or yeah, it's not Lieutenant Robards. It's it's Victor Henriksen, who's from the FBI. We had a
Yes.
great line from him a minute ago that we talked over where he tells Lieutenant Robards, "You have no idea what you're dealing with. There is a monster in that bank." So we think for a second, like, oh, does he know? Does he know there are monsters? No, no. So he's on the
Mm.
phone with Dean here, and he thinks Dean is the monster. He's like, I know about St. Louis, which is the murder and torture and murder in Skin. He's like, I know about the desecrations. I know about the Houdini act you pulled in Maryland. Like, I know it all. Um, and then he starts in on John.
Yeah, yeah. Don't
Like,
mess with daddy.
not for Dean, not yet, not at this point in the series. He's and like I think both actors do a fantastic job with this scene. Like their performances really bring a lot of depth to this conversation. He tells Dean, "You've got an hour, and I'm coming in." And then he turns to them. He says, I want 5 minutes. We're going in there in 5 minutes." And as far as he is concerned, you know what? I'm going to pause this because I don't want to get too far ahead of us, ahead of what are or I should say, too far behind where the episode is. Um, excuse me, but Sam and Dean are in the big leagues now. They've got the FBI on their asses. Um, and we saw at the beginning of Crossroad Blues that Dean has a federal rap sheet. If you remember, Sam was kind
Yeah.
of jealous that he didn't have
Yeah.
one. But Robards, and I love this little exchange because you see it just like Ronald, where if you don't believe there are shapeshifters in the world, Ronald is crazy.
Yes.
Like from a hunter's perspective, he's got a monster board. From an FBI profiler's perspective, he's got a crazy wall of delusion. And it's kind of the same thing where, if you're not in on the secret that there is a supernatural threat, Sam and Dean Winchester and the way they were raised by John,
Yeah.
like they're crazy and they are
Yes.
dangerous and they need to be stopped. Um, so I think this is a great introduction for Victor Henriksen. Spoiler alert: he's going to come back, and let's just kind of file this away as this is where his character starts, and then we'll see where his character goes. Okay, with that, hitting play. So poor Ronald is gone. It's just Sam and Dean, and they are continuing to search for the shapeshifter who could be anyone at
Yeah.
this point. Um, Sam notices a little blood trail
Yeah.
as he's searching the bank. And he pops open this door here, and we've got this long
Oh.
tense, what's in the door, what's in the door, and then poor Sherry flops out of the, we've got to damn it,
Damn
so
it.
we'll look for that in a minute. um and she flops out in a little slip, and her throat has been cut, but Sherry's still in the vault.
Yes.
So they think finally they've got eyes on the shifter. And so they say, Sherry, you come with us. We're going to let you go as an act of good faith. And she's like, no, 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 no. I think I'm going to stay here. We see her eyeing up Sam and this silver dagger, or well, it's a letter opener, the same way that the the other shifter did earlier, or the other person, I should say, did earlier that we found out was the shifter. Um, they bring her in to see dead Sherry, and she immediately sees herself dead on the floor and starts shrieking and freaking out. Um, and Sam's like, "This is the last time you turn into anybody ever again." And she just passes away in a dead faint. We can't call it her getting knocked out because she faints, she passes
Yeah.
out, she doesn't get knocked out. But so Sam
But then
and
it's
Dean are
like, okay, this is different.
what what do we do now?
Now.
Um, and Dean is like, let's go for the stabby stabby. And but Sam is the one who's like, wait a minute, something doesn't make sense here. Like passing out as a ploy, like this doesn't keep you alive. What the hell? So they're still sort of like looking back and forth. And I mean, I think you see the boys' personalities here because, Dean is act first, ask questions later, and Sam is the one who needs all the pieces to fit together. So I think that's kind of cool. But then over Dean's shoulder, you
Ugh.
see that's a choke. You
Yep.
see dead Sherry come back to life. So this is something we didn't know shifters could do. But not only can they look like other people, they can mimic wounds and injuries and things. So Sam's got Sherry, the real Sherry. He's taken her out. Shifter knees Dean in the head and gets away. And you know what? I'm gonna pause this. So we've got a choke and we have a damn it.
I
Let's
have
see.
neither.
Uh let's see. I goodness, this is terrible. If only Dean had dropped his letter opener, I would have one of the boys drops his weapon, but he hung on to it. Yeah, I got neither also. I also have not
Neither.
anyway. You
Yeah.
know what I'm trying to say.
Fortunately, we are not in English class.
Thank goodness. Yeah, because that would not be a good score for me. Um, so yeah, sadly, nothing for either one of us.
Nope.
Um, so I did back it up ever so slightly just to confirm, yeah, no sign that Dean dropped that weapon.
Nope.
Um, okay, so just as uh I keep wanting to call him by his actor's name, but as Victor Henriksen said, 5 minutes, he's sending in SWAT. So here comes SWAT. They're heavily armed, heavily
Yeah.
armored, and they start to stalk Sam and Dean through the bank.
Yeah.
Um, we see Dean kind of narrowly miss getting caught by SWAT. So again, we've got this kind of tense cat and mouse as Sam and Dean are hunting the shifter and SWAT are haunting them. We've got
Uh,
two more SWAT folks coming around the corner. They spot the real Sherry, and she's like, I work here, I work here, and they escort her out of the bank. Um, Meanwhile,
yeah.
they are they catch Sam, and he's like, all right, we've got you. They don't radio for backup, which is a mistake. uh,
Yeah.
Cut to Dean is going into a high voltage closet here, which is not foreshadowing. They will make no use of the high voltage whatsoever, which I think is a miss. um but he gets a palm strike to the face. Sam takes on both SWAT people, knocks them both out, which actually, hold that
Yeah.
thought. Dean is having the fight of his life with the shifter, who's in
Right.
this tiny little slip. And I think this is a pretty decent fight here, but he tears this piece of her arm off,
Oh,
which is super
it,
gross.
yeah, and then which of
Um,
course gives her the upper hand because he's
he's
thrown by that.
he's got yeah, like it distracts him, and now he's got no leverage because anything he grabs onto is going to pull off.
But
Um,
he does stab
he
her.
He manages to stab her. This is kind of the way she's, like, stroking his face is kind of interesting. So she collapses, he's got her, she's dead. He hears SWAT coming. He's kind of stuck, and we've got a repeat of this shot that we had in The Usual Suspects, where he's kneeling over the body of a dead one, literally caught red-handed. We see the SWAT boot step into frame, and we've got a black screen that I'm going to pause on.
You don't think
So
he could have
we
learned, like, kill, get the fuck out of there?
run, run.
Yeah,
So here's something. Okay, so we have a damn it, we have a choke, which we looked for and we didn't have either. Now we used to have Sam or Dean get knocked out, but we've changed that to someone gets knocked out.
correct.
And Sam has knocked out these two SWAT people. So let's see if either one of us have someone get knocked out. No, I have someone gets thrown against a wall, which I don't
I
think
say
we
I have
saw.
someone other than Dean Drives Baby, which I know has nothing to do with it, but it starts with someone.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think that's about as close as we're going to get here. Yeah, I don't have that either, but hopefully you do at home
yeah, yeah.
if you're
I
playing
really
with
hope
us.
because I mean there's some potential here if everything kind of lines up.
But it didn't.
It ain't doing that.
Nope, nope, no luck.
No.
Okay, well, never mind
And we
then.
don't even see the guys like picking the lock on the safe to be able to have a
No,
lock pick.
no, no, we don't get any of that. Okay, so here we are hitting play.
Yeah.
Again, this so now the SWAT have cleared the building enough. Here comes Victor Henriksen into the bank. They are continuing to sweep for Sam and Dean. Um, and they come across the gentleman that the shifter killed. So they're going to assume Sam and Dean did this. We've got one of the SWAT people looking at the shifter saying, "I just walked her out of the bank." Like, I'm telling you, she must have a twin sister or something. Um, Detective Henriksen comes in. They're saying the building's secure, and he's like, "No, they have to be here somewhere. Check the ducts, check the ceilings, check everything." The SWAT commander says, "No, that's not necessary." And he points to his two SWAT team members who are knocked out in their underpants, chained up. And we've got this great needle drop from Styx, Renegade It. It's like, "Oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life from the long arm of the law." And it's just it's a the way that it's timed is fantastic. And we've got these two SWAT people running up the stairs. They head straight for baby. They start stripping, their weaponry off, they get into the car, and now we can see it's not 2 random SWAT dudes, it's Sam and Dean. So they knocked out these SWAT guys, took their clothes, which how they managed to just happen to get into a fight with 2 SWAT guys who were 6'1" and 6'4", I don't know, but they pulled it off.
It's in the script.
It's in the script. We've got this line from Dean, "We are so
So
screwed," and then this song just kicks into high gear. It's really cut incredibly well. So the 2 of them the last shot of the episode is them driving away, and we've got just the tail lights disappearing through this parking garage. And yet the game has changed for them now. So that is our episode. Before we talk about it, I want to finish up a couple of thoughts on that Renegade by Styx. Frequently at conventions, Jared and Jensen will be asked, what their kind of favorite needle drop is, or what their favorite moment in the series is, and they both point to this specifically because of the music cue. Um, and Jensen in particular has said that it was just another normal scene to him until he saw it with the music. Anyway, oh, it just transformed it into one of his favorites. And he's made a point of talking about, the post-production folks, that they don't it's not a glamorous position. They're not in the spotlight, but they really do work a lot of magic, and they don't get enough credit for what they do. So this is, one of those moments where we get to really highlight, some of the folks we don't see on camera.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, that that is
That,
everything. We don't get any last things to check for here.
nope. No, we don't.
So
Yeah. And as I thought, once I hit that 5, I was done.
yeah. Yeah, so let's take one last look at our cards, even though we don't really have anything else to check for. Yeah, the most I have in a row is I have two in a row 3 times. But
I have I have 2 in a row twice.
yeah. All right, so we both have two in a row.
Actually,
I
no, I do.
have
I have 2 in a row 3 times. Actually, yeah.
Okay, all right, so we both have two, but then you have a total of five and I have four. Is that where we're landing?
Correct.
All right. Well, in that case, you have lost by the least. Um, and I will toast your victory.
With some cough syrup.
Yes. Mm. Okay. One thing you loved, one thing you hated.
One thing I loved is disgusting as it was. Ugh. God, I don't like shapeshifters. Um, the special effects with the shapeshifter, just
Yes.
the arm
Yeah.
that it is so gross,
Mhm.
but so cool at the
Yeah.
exact same time.
The fact that it is as gross as it is a testament really to the skill of the special effects artists. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And that's all practical. It's their prosthetics were done by Schminken Studios, and the way they did that was they had a prosthetic with the muscle striations on it, and then they covered it in KY jelly. They were buying vats of it for this one, and at least that's what they said on their taxes it was for. And then they essentially, you need my cough syrup. So they put a layer of KY over the prosthetic, and then they put what amounted to a condom, something semi transparent, over that, so that you could see it, slide over the muscle. Yeah, they
So
in
gross.
oh, so incredibly gross and really cool at the same time. I
Yeah.
I applaud you for the thing that you picked out that you loved. How about something you hated?
That damn safe pisses me off. The fact that there's no I kept I mean, when I first saw the episode, I fully expected Sam to be like, we're screwed. He doesn't know the combo. No, they just open it like they even make a point of saying spin it. So it's like, okay, you're it's spun and all that. Like spin the damn thing.
Yeah, I agree. Uh, sorry, I'm smiling a little bit. I don't know why, but all of a sudden your light, like
I know just
you're
that
an
too. I was like, what?
angel.
I was like, what the fuck
That's
happened?
that's new.
Yeah, yeah. It was all of a sudden like the last second or two. I'm like, what the hell happened?
Ah, do you hear a choir of angels singing by any chance?
No, thank
Is
God,
there
because
a
otherwise I'd be freaking the fuck out.
there it goes. There it
There it goes.
goes.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And nothing changed.
Change.
Absolutely, like I can't even say
Uh
like the lights dimmed for a moment, went back up. Absolutely nothing changed. So that was the
no,
weirdest. Well, we are watching Supernatural.
the wonders of technology. Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's especially interesting considering what our next episode is going to be.
Yeah,
But
but
okay,
yeah,
so for me, I'm sorry. So yes,
yeah.
locking. I am not going to pretend to be any kind of an expert on bank vaults. If anybody watching this happens to be and can tell us, but what I wonder is if it's a thing where like it's kind of a two-stage thing, like you spin the like a deadbolt, you know what I mean? Where you spin the wheel to lock the bars, but it's not the wheel itself isn't locked. I have no idea. Is it any safe crackers in our audience? Let us know how do bank vaults work. So for me, holy crap, there's a lot to love here. Like Chris Gautier's performance is extraordinary, and it's written by Ben Edlund. He called it Supernatural's Dog Day Afternoon, and Ben Edlund is a mad genius. So it's got it's not quite as crazy as some of his episodes get, but it's got his fingerprints on it. And then it's filmed really well by director Phil Segrisha. Like there's a lot to love here.
Yeah.
The thing I'm going to point out is a little, I'm going to say a little obscure, but what I like about it that I'm particularly is this season they've been starting to drop little subtle hints that Sam and Dean are not just monster hunters. Like, are they monster hunters? Yes. But like, if, you know, there are, deer hunters as an example, they can't, they might be an expert on shooting deer. They're not going to know things like strategy and tactics for, like in Croatoan. If I were going to shut down this city, the first thing I would do,
Yeah.
is, and here, like they understand, about how do you, Dean says something about if I were going to lock down a bank,
Yeah.
like, or, he's telling Ronald, you didn't lock this bank down right. So we're starting to get little hints that, they weren't just um, taught the basics, we're also seeing that there are things that John kept from them.
Hmm.
So it's this strange kind of juxtaposition where on the one hand, they probably know more than they really need to know to be effective against hunting monsters. But at the same time, there are things about hunting monsters that John didn't tell them. So we're starting to get little hints of that, and I think that's kind of cool. The thing that I
I bet
hated.
you. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
going
no,
to
no, go
interrupt you
ahead.
just for one second.
Go ahead.
I bet you also, just from having raised three kids myself, they pick stuff up that you don't consciously teach them. So it's like stuff that just they saw John do, even if like he was trying to not necessarily teach it or maybe even intentionally trying to keep it from him, that it's like, I remember seeing dad do this. I remember seeing dad do that. I remember watching dad try that and that failed miserably. So, mental note, don't try that again. So, like, all of these little, like, I bet they know more than they think they do, is my point.
Yeah. I think it's a fair point, and it's something that we'll have to keep our eyes out for as the seasons progress. That it is kind of interesting what they've picked up from John and what they haven't. And I think in particular, Dean has picked up a lot of things about how he thinks hunters should be, how he thinks a man should be. Um, and that's something that we're going to talk about a lot more in the
Mhm.
upcoming seasons. Is all the things that maybe John didn't deliberately set out to teach them, but they reacted to either to adopt or to um, contradict. You know,
Yeah.
so keep your eyes peeled for that. The thing that I hated, and this is a little nitpicky, but again, this episode is so good. Lynn and I are, Lynn, I don't want to speak for you, but if you're picking on the bank locking, like clearly we're like scrambling for something to say here. But the way when they find Sherry dead,
Yeah.
um, that prosthetic is blended so poorly. Like you can clearly see the edges of the prosthetic and particularly along like the side of her neck. And you can tell that they like tried to fix it in editing where like they cut the shot so that you can only kind of see the very edge of the prosthetic. But I just feel like again, they've got the special effects in house.
Yeah. Yeah.
They dropped all
Clearly,
that.
they know how to use it.
They've got that 12-second shot of a helicopter. They couldn't have spared some time or money to go in with the computer and fix her prosthetic. Like, I
Well,
don't
I
that.
mean, especially with the skin scene and all of that. I mean, they
Yeah,
got the complicated one.
right, right.
Couldn't they
But
have done that? What kids do
yeah,
with paper mache, for lack
I
of
know.
I mean, I
And
know.
no, I mean the prosthetic itself looks good. Like where her
Yeah,
throat is cut, the prosthetic looks good. But where it's blended, like
yeah,
you can clearly see the edges like along her neck, kind of along her shoulder, and then down into her décolletage,
yeah,
because of her wearing that little slip. Like if you look, you can clearly see where they didn't do a very good job blending that prosthetic. And I think that's something that they could have. I imagine even in 2026. Well, we're in 2027 at this point. But, technology. They could have they could have fixed that in post. So that's something that annoys me a little bit. Okay. That is last call. Thanks for coming along with us for the ride. If you like what we're doing here, be sure to tell your friends. Please also like our videos and subscribe so it's easier for other people to find us too.
yes, and of course, we love making those bonus episodes. So
Mm,
please give
indeed, we
us
do.
some topics for Ask Jared because otherwise we're kind of running out of ideas and we'd really love some creative things to discuss. So come on, people,
Yep.
give it,
Help us out
give it.
here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, give us some good stuff.
Indeed. So we love hearing from our SPN family. Comment, send us an email at hunterfuelpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Hunter Fuel Podcast. In our next episode, we'll be watching season 2, episode 13, Houses of the Holy. when Dean declares there's no such thing as angels. Until then, be safe, everybody. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.